season of the Spiral Up podcast, I'm really dedicated to talking to people who have really shown an embodiment of resilience. And there's so much that you and I both love to geek out on personal development and growth and all the things that we do. But there's a difference between reading and having knowledge and actually knowing and living it and embodying it.
Welcome to the Spiral Up podcast. I'm your host, Dr. LaChelle Wieme, a peak performance coach and business strategist dedicated to helping you see what's possible within you, the blind spots that are holding you back, and the solutions to ensure success and fulfillment without the hustle. I use my secret sauce of metaphysics, brain science, and scripture to work with God to manifest your ideal life and business. If you're ready to create massive forward momentum in your business and bust through the blocks that drag you down, join me on the Spiral Up journey and create the clarity, confidence, and consistency to become the CEO that lives your life by design. It's time to create the sustainable impact, income, and time freedom you desire faster. Now is the time to spiral up.
Hey friends, welcome back to the Spiral Up podcast. I am your host, Dr. LaChelle Wieme, and today you're in for a treat. You're going to get a chance to meet my new friend, Dr. Carrie Carter. You guys, she is so inspirational. We met recently because I was a guest on her Empowered Nurse Leaders Summit, and we talked a little bit prior to the recording, and it felt like the two of us have known each other our whole lives, and it's really fun. She's not only this beautiful host of this summit, but she also is an author of several books. Thankfully, I have one of them in my possession, which is so wonderful. And I'm just really excited for you guys to get to know Terry a little bit better, but so glad you're here. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you so much, LaChelle. And hey, thank you so much for being a part of our Empowered Nurse Leaders Summit. So it is great to see our speakers and also to be a guest in our speakers environment. You have a big audience, and also you have a good content that you work with them, with your listeners, which is really inspiring to see, and which really makes me think that we are sisters from another mother.
Terry, there was so much that, when we got to know each other, that I was really impressed with, honestly. And this season of the Spiral Up podcast, I'm really dedicated to talking to people who have really shown an embodiment of resilience. And there's so much that you and I both love to geek out on personal development and growth and all the things that we do. But there's a difference between reading and having knowledge and actually knowing and living it and embodying it. And I think that you do that. And so why don't you tell us a little bit more about your business, who you serve? Why don't we start there?
I am in the business of serving nurse leaders and save them from one condition called overperformance. So I am the CEO of Terry International Consortium. Terry International Consortium equips nurse leaders with the tools that they need to succeed and stop overperforming and start living their lives as well as leading boldly.
I would love to know, so I'm going to ask you this question. Tell me a little bit about why you started your business to begin with.
I started my business because I wanted to help to equip nurse leaders. And, like everybody knows, when everybody in business knows, when you start a business, you don't get your first client. And because everybody thinks that, when I open the doors for this business, I'll get so many clients. But the reality is, no, it does not happen. So when I started business, it was 2017. In 2017, I was prepared to start the business and keep going because I had just finished my doctorate degree and I had all these strategic plans and all this. So I started my business as a nurse, as a doctorate prepared nurse. Then I realized what I did not know. People don't start coming as soon as you open the business.
I know, right?
I had to keep my day job. And so I kept my day job and I continued. I continued doing my side job and my day job. Then what happened was just before COVID-19, we got one customer, one client came, and from unexpected areas. It was like our first client did not come from the United States. Our first client came from Dubai.
Okay.
And we were like, oh, yes. Then we got another contract and another contract and another. We had 4 contracts going. within a very short time, it's like, okay, we started a business, nothing came, then all of a sudden we get the first, and within that, it's like within the first week of the first business showing up, we got 4 contracts at once. So we were like, okay, let's do this. So we started, and the people, my partners, so we got everything done because we had everything set and everything done. Then while we were just in the middle of our contracts, COVID-19 hits.
Yes.
And now our contracts are there. Nobody is thinking, because our business is mainly based on, we were doing transitions for the people who are transitioning from nurse leaders, transitioning from being charge nurse to being managers to being directors, all the way to the C-suite. Our company had the C-suite, like you get to train the people who are going to the C-suite. How do they behave to the board? When they are, because when you address the board, you don't address the board the same way we are addressing your team and all that.
Yeah.
What do we do? You couldn't travel. We couldn't get access to the teams that we had already started assessing and doing the work. We couldn't do anything else. And those days Zoom was not even available. So had to go back to work and continue working the same job that I were doing. It's like, okay, we were thinking in the midst of our contracts, we are thinking about, oh, now we can even retire. Then COVID-19 hits, oh no, you can't retire. You got to continue working. And it's like, okay. So we are like, okay, whatever it happens, it happens. So I wrote my first book then. I put out my first book. It is about my first book was about manager transitions and what to do. So the book started selling, and I was like, maybe I can be an author. If things don't turn out well, I'll be an author and still continue with my day job. So I worked, and I had COVID-19 flaws, and the part of the business just came to a freeze. And we waited. Then COVID-19 stopped, and all the borders were open, and then we had to start going back to our contracts. Our contracts, because they were still midway, they were up again. And it was then when we sat down and thought, now with our contracts going on, what do we need to use the same materials that we are using, or what do we need to do? And we did that. We went to do the reassessment. And when we did the reassessment, that is when we realized, oh my God, the people, especially the managers who had been promoted the time that we went there to start their contracts, had stepped down. In the United States, especially, they had said, I want to work my 3 days and I am done. Those who could quit, they had quit. Those who could, and it was another different landscape.
Yeah, so everything had shifted. So before COVID, you had this system that was starting to take off.
Yes.
You had to abandon all of that for the time being. And then as you decided that it was time to pick it back up, you get in there, and the nurses that you had been mentoring through this process had actually quit or resigned because they're like, I'm out, this is too stressful. And so what did you have to do in order to pivot in that space?
Yeah, and when we thought it was maybe in the United States. Then we did our contracts in South Africa, East Africa, and also in Dubai and India. And all of them, we had the same thing. The landscape had shifted. So we had to shift everything, and we couldn't reach everybody at the same time. So we decided, okay, it was not me who decided. It is one of our partners who decided and said, okay, we can start this summit thing. What summit thing? Oh, we can do summits, and then all the nurse leaders, especially those that, while there were available resources in the healthcare systems, and the EAP is very good. It is, EAP is good, but where it is run through either through HR or through employee health. Who wants to go to those two places? So we decided, let's create an environment for our leaders where we can get speakers from across the globe, and we can get the summits going. And that is when the summits got born.
Okay.
And with the summits getting born, it was like, oh my God, there are a lot of people who are silent. They are very silent because they want to keep their job, and rightfully so. then they want to do the right thing and rightfully so, but they need a system that supports. That's how our summits got born. Then in the meantime, we also got to be
So
these.
I'm curious, like when you started your business and it took a little while for it to take off, did you ever feel like maybe this isn't worth it? Like this isn't, what I want to do. Did you ever think about quitting before things started to take off?
No, the one thing that I never thought about, I said, you know what? I was determined that one day I'm gonna have a business, and one day I'm gonna do it. But I did not factor, because I had created all these strategic plans. Like when I was doing my doctorate, we had the first class of our doctorate program about getting your business, how to run the business, and I was in leadership, so I knew how to kind of run the business. Then I realized I did not have enough materials, and before I started my business, so what I did, I went to Wharton School of Business, and I got more education on running a business and all that. So my mind was set up. I am going to start a business.
Yes. And so one of the things that I see over and over and over again is this beautiful trend of desire, decide, do. And it's like the desire to have the business was in your heart. And then you had this pivotal moment where you decided, and this is like a declaration. It's a all body decision where it's like, I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to figure this out somehow. It wasn't like this wishy-washy, well, maybe this is going to work, but if not, I have a good job kind of thing. And this is really important for you guys to hear, because what I want to do in these interviews is help us to find these trends of like, what are the common denominators with people who are successful versus the ones who are struggling. And this decision that you made to figure it out, which meant I need a little bit more education here, I need this. And because giving up wasn't an option. And I think that too many of us can get caught up in the hobby or the maybe this will be fun or whatever, and you're like, no, like I'm doing this, I'm figuring this out. And I just wanted to acknowledge that. And then when it comes to the COVID situation and knowing that you wanted to pivot, was it kind of the same that during that time too, Terry, where you're like, this is not going anywhere, we just need to pivot? Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so then actually what made it during COVID-19, and the COVID just came to amplify my urge. It was like, oh my God, there's a way to do something else other than this. Because I saw the reason why I started a business was so that I can serve others, and others can avoid the pitfalls that I have gone through. You know, having come to Kenya and having started over again to go back to school and do my nursing, I saw that, there were some gaps. And how do I help those folks? How do I help the nurse leaders to see how they can move from where they are and remove the gaps? For instance, if I came to you and you've done a business, you would tell me, hey, do one. When you open the business, people don't show up. So have a backup. But you have to make your desire to where it is so bad, so into you, and look for what you love, that even if things do not work out, have the power to pivot. Keep looking for a way and look again.
Yes.
All right, there is a way. Okay, who has done it better? Who has done it better? So I wanted to make it where that I can be that person where somebody can say, there was once a nurse leader who was working here, and she managed to find that there is a problem, and she fixed the problem. And that was my area, because even when I was working at the big healthcare systems, I would always look for my main thing was retention, recruitment and retention. How do I recruit? How do I retain? And it was so fascinating, because years later, I would have somebody come and tell me, it was not until you told me this, and you saved me a lot of time, because I would let them do. In my own office, I had a small little, like an assessment tool, and I would go like, okay, you need, so they'll come and tell me, I'm thinking about being a charge nurse. And I'm like, okay, why do you want to be a charge nurse? Then they go, I'm thinking to be a manager. Why? So I had those assessment tools, and I'll be like, okay, they were not formal, they were not formalized, but they are the same questions that I would go through everybody. And they're like, you know what? I don't think that is for me. I
Yeah.
thought about it for 2 weeks, and
Yeah.
after that, I don't think I want to be a manager.
So yeah, so you really just really recognize the mentorship part of your skill set.
Yes.
And that's actually something that I wanted to bring into this conversation, actually, Terry, because it was one of the reasons why I wanted you on the show, is that you had actually gone through a lot of obstacles and roadblocks on your way to even becoming a nurse here in the United States. Tell us a little bit about that journey, because I think that, again, there's something within you of who you are as a person. I think that is just this resilient, determined person. And I wanted to hear that story about your nursing.
So my nursing journey, I've done nursing for many, many years, but my nursing journey did not start in the United States. My nursing journey started way back in Kenya, where I was born. I came to the United States to continue my education. But what was I doing in Kenya when I was in Kenya? In Kenya, I was actually one of the top, like, I was coordinating rescue rescue operations for patients to go, especially when they evacuated from Kenya, to get healthcare everywhere in the other continents. Especially, we start with Australia, then North America, and all. So I was coordinating all those. So my nursing skills and everything had gotten me to where I had maxed out.
Yeah.
And when I maxed out, I've written this in my books, and so we used to call it you we used to have these meetings like, hey, what is your next level? What is your next level? That is the growth level, right? Because I've always been in the personal development area for persons, for me and others. So we would look and say, all right, now I think you are past this, you need to look for something else. And then it was my turn, and I was told, hey, you got everything you need, because I was recruiting teams, getting the teams going and everything. And everybody was like, okay, I don't think there's anything else here for you in Kenya as a nurse. Look for something outside of the United States. And I said, yes, I'll go get my doctorate degree. I'll get everything. And then I came to the United States. This nurse who has so many years of experience and everything, and I had my paperwork to follow me. And when I got to the United States, there was nothing. It's like, it took so long processing the paperwork, getting the paperwork here and everything. So within the first month of doing this, I was like, you know what, which is the school that I can start enrolling as I wait for that? And they said, what are you going to enroll to do? I'm going to do nursing. They said, you already have a degree in nursing. Oh yeah, it is not in the United States, it's in Kenya, but I'm waiting for my paperwork. So I finished, I continued, and it's like, oh my God. So I started doing, and it helped me because, especially the area that really helped me in nursing in the United States was an area that later on I didn't know. But if I had not taken all the courses in the United States, when I was going to proceed to go to graduate school, I would have had to look for the same paperwork to be sent from Kenya to here. But since I started from scratch here, every one of my paperwork, my transcripts, they come from the United States even when I started. So I got an associate degree. And the irony in it was that when I had been cleared to take my boards. And the day that I sat my NCLEX, and I passed my NCLEX, then the paperwork from Kenya.
So I'm going to just recap, you guys, so that you can make sure that you get this. So she was waiting for her paperwork to prove her nursing license and everything from Kenya. And it was taking so long that she's like, well, heck with this. I'm just going to go back to school here in the United States. And so she has 2 nursing degrees from 2 different countries, right? And so I just think that the thing that stood out to me when I heard that story for the first time was that you just really are somebody that doesn't allow yourself to stay stuck in this victim blame cycle, that you really are just like, okay, well, this is where we're at. Now, what can I do? That seems to be a theme with you. Am I off base there?
Yeah, that is true. It is okay. So what else? Because and staying stuck is not an option. You just can't stay stuck there. It's like, okay, the paperwork waits to come, and I think the person who gave me the best advice was the person who told me, sometimes it takes years, and it takes years for the board to clear all the qualifications from the other country to here. What most people do, they start 2 years before they make it to the United States. So it is already in the process by the time they get to the United States. Or two, they start taking courses here as they wait. And it's okay, which is a school that I can enroll. And really, like I say, it was a blessing in disguise, because now I am the most educated nurse who has gone through more schooling than anybody else in Kenya that I know. And here in the United States, I have both the knowledge of learning from Kenya and also here. And that also has helped me, especially during my businesses, because when I work with countries in East Africa, I know what they go through. When I work with countries in India, I know the process of getting, their certifications here. When I go through the nurse leaders in South Africa, I know. So that gave me a real good. When I was doing it to not get stuck and get something going, so I can get my nice nursing license. But looking like hindsight is 2020.
Yeah,
So
well, I mean, that gave you the skill set and the experience, both personally and like logistically, to be able to help other people
yes,
to get through that process, and it makes you an asset to other people. So it just ties into that personal calling and that purpose of mentorship and everything, and all the pieces that have fallen together because of your own experience, that you can help other people, which is really what you're passionate about. And I love that. Terry, what would you say to people who have gotten themselves into a situation where they do feel stuck and they're like, I think that it's great to listen to your stories, but how do I get there? What are some practical tools that you could give somebody to kind of keep going and find those solutions and be open to that stuff?
So I think the one thing is that we'll all get stuck. That is the reality. We will all get stuck at some time.
Mm-hmm.
We will get stuck. If we don't get stuck in our professional life, we may get stuck in our relationship. For instance, you can get dumped today and you're stuck. You're like, I'll never get somebody else. I am not attractive enough. And so we will all get stuck in one way or another, because that is how our brain helps us. Our brain from the beginning is really there to help us from not getting hurt. So you don't try things because you don't want to get hurt. But here are the things that you know. This will happen. So prepare for the worst. Have a plan. Say, okay, what will happen if this goes? There's somebody, I think it is Arnold Schwarzenegger, who says, I don't have a backup plan. That is when you burn all the boats. But that is true when you got something going. For instance, when I started my business and when I left my job, I said, this will work. So what will I do? I will burn all the boats that will pull me behind.
Mm-hmm.
Burn them. There are people who are willing to give you a job. There are people who have come to me and said, oh no, God, if I can only have you for 1 year and turn my team around. Don't. Just say, that is good. I can come and turn your team around and I know how, but send them to my summit. I will turn them around there. So burn all the boats from your old self. But before you burn the boats, prepare for the worst. Prepare for the worst. Get ready to do it. The other thing is, I've always done my inventory. I always say, and I tell myself the truth. Tell yourself the truth of what you're good at and what you are not good at. So do a personal inventory and say, yes, I am very good at this. If it is public speaking, say, yes, I'm good at public speaking. And most people, they even forget to do the bare minimum. For instance, me coming from somewhere else, not the United States, I had to learn about the currency. I even had to learn how many quarters make a dollar. Okay, and how many nickels. And so I had to learn the currency basically.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're from the United States and you are born in the United States and you know the currency, that is an inventory on your part. Say, do you know the currency? Yes, that is a plus for you. Write it down. So when you're doing an inventory, don't just look for degrees. I have no degree. No, look for everything.
Yes, just basic skill sets that you overlook is what you're saying. Like
Yes, everything. And then see where the gap is. Because if you have a skill of the currency, unless you want to work in the bank, then you'll need something else. So see the gap of what what your inventory is and where it is not. I give you an example of myself. When I wanted to start a business, I had my doctorate degree and I had everything, but I realized I did not have the business skills. So what did I look? After that, I looked for which school can give me this. And I went to Wharton University in Pennsylvania. So the Wharton School. So I did the Wharton School and I learned how to do that. So that combined, then I looked and I said, what else do I need? So everything keeps going and that does not stop. So every year do an inventory of, hey, did I meet my goal? I wanted a skill in this, or I wanted a partner with this person, or I wanted this. Did I make it?
And I take people through that process every year, aligned strategic planning. And it's very similar to that, like taking inventory of my skills, what I feel like I'm missing, who do I need to meet, just all the things that are going to help me to be more proactive and intentional about my goals. I love that so much. What other day-to-day things, Terry, do you do to just keep yourself in a high performance place? Because I really do love hearing from successful people on their daily habits or the way you think. So tell me a little bit about what's life behind the scenes.
The endurance, I call it the endurance, and I take it, I put it, it's endurance, the state zone. Just be in the state. There's nobody, especially when you're running your business, everybody looks at you, you are the boss. When you are the founder and you are the CEO and you are the CNE, because I am the CNO and then the CNE of the Empowered Nurse Leader. So everybody looks at me for guidance. So if I don't have my compass right, and my endurance, nobody is going to come to wake me up and say, hey, wake up. Today is Tuesday and get to work. So you have to have that personal drive. And the personal drive has to be directed. Then it is actually a mentorship. I look at it like it's a mentorship. A mentorship from where, I used to go to work and I would make sure, or my boss would say, okay, is Terry here? Or my team would go, is Terry here? Or meetings, is Terry here for the meet? So there was accountability, though it was there. And sometimes even when I needed to go for my doctor's appointment, I would say, hey, tomorrow I'll be late, or tomorrow I will not be here, I have an appointment, or tomorrow I'm taking vacation time. That is then. Mm-hmm. But when you are doing your own business, you can also get very burnout very fast. So that is why I call it the endurance toolkit. What are you doing for yourself? What are you doing to fill yourself up fast before you can call? What are you doing to fill yourself up? What am I doing to fill myself up so that I can overflow? And when I overflow, the energy flows to the people who are looking out to me. Yes. And what can I do to improve myself to a point where when I reach my team, not only my team in the United States, my team across the globe, they can see or they can learn from me. And what can I do to make this not only about me, but also how can I train others so that even when I am not here or when I am done, the empowered nurse leaders continues. That's the legacy. It continues even without me. Yes. What can I do? So that is the forward vision thinking, and that is what I do. So it starts with me in the morning, waking up and realizing that nobody is coming to get me out of bed. It is me. And then nobody I'm not responsible to anybody else except everybody else. Yes. So I don't have a boss to go and say, this is what is that, but everybody else is depending on me. And so that, and then the humility to realize that even when everybody else is looking up to what I can help them with, I'm humble enough to realize that one day this is going to be over. And when it is over, what is going to be left?
That is so beautiful. This has been such an inspiring conversation. I think that you have so many nuggets, and the nurses that you mentor are definitely blessed by your wisdom for sure. Is there anything else, Terry, that we haven't had a chance to touch on during this interview to really inspire people with some hope or practical tools to help them to continue to move forward and to fulfill the big, beautiful purpose that they have?
Yeah, everybody got a dream. And I look at it, especially for those people who are mothers. When mothers are pregnant, they all have dreams for their children. And no one mother dreams about their child being anything other than the best. For everybody has a dream for themselves. And sometimes the dreams get buried up every day because people tell you you can't, others tell you you are too old, you are too this, you are too this, you are too this, you are too this. And you can also tell yourself that too. But get to dream again. Get to vision cast again, because your dreams are yours. And you don't want to exit this world without having accomplished your dreams. And there's no reason that you cannot dream and dream even bigger. Because, guys, the sky, when I was growing up, we were told the sky is the limit. But no, the sky is no longer the limit. We've been there. We've been above the skies. We've sent spaceships up there. So there is no limit to what you can do. And you touch something. If you thought about, all right, you wanna stay where you're working, go continue working. If you're not satisfied with what you're doing, dream bigger. And even if your dreams scare you, continue to dream. And your dreams will come true. Because every day, just keep working on it. Whatever you dream you can be, you will be. Because Ford said,
yes,
if you're right, you're right. And even when you're not right, you're right too.
That's true. Oh my goodness, it's so wise. Thank you so much, you guys. I hope that this was inspiring. I hope that you were able to take some nuggets away from Dr. Terry and her interview today. Make sure that you go into the show notes and check out all of the ways that you could connect with her. And if you're a nurse leader, her summits are really well done, so you're not going to want to miss that as well. If you guys have been listening to her story also, and you're realizing that, wow, she does operate at a higher level, and I am still getting in my head a little bit more. I'm still allowing stinking thinking and fears and things to hold me back from really stepping up and stepping in. I want to go ahead and invite you right now to an Align and Growth consultation so that I can help you to determine where your blind spots are and where you're misaligned, so that we can get you back on the track and be able to really fulfill that beyond the sky limits that Terry just mentioned. So, all right, you guys, I hope you had a great day and a great time, and I'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.
So much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe and leave a review. Each honest review helps me spiral up so that I can serve you even better. Whether you're feeling a lack of impact, income, or time freedom, or perhaps you're just ready for massive momentum in your business, let's chat. Apply for a breakthrough call so that you can gain clarity, identify what's holding you back, and make a plan to spiral up. Head on over to im-lifebydesign.com/breakthrough or access the link in the show notes. For immediate support, log into our community, the Better Club. We focus on inspiration, tactical guidance, and support. This is a community that wants to be better, do better, and have better in life and in business, and we're going to help you do the same. Let's spiral up, friends.